BMW was an early contestant into the extravagance SUV advertisement that presented the X5 in 1999. The vehicle was promptly well known, and the brand hustled the littler X3 to advertise just 4 years after the fact. Other extravagance brands have since taken off contending models, and a few have expanded upward into full estimate, committed free-push contributions. However, BMW dithered on the topic of whether to build up a X7. The organization busied itself rather with X6 and X4 roadster variations of its backbone models and with the littler X1/X2. Runaway market interest for SUVs, and the greater the better. Also the accomplishment of Mercedes-Benz's GL/GLS that has been around for over 10 years now, has at long last impelled BMW enthusiastically. A BMW X7 is presently on its way, however regardless it isn't here yet. Anticipate that it will make a big appearance this fall and show up in showrooms in the principal quarter of 2019, so our first in the driver's seat introduction to the X7 was uncovered models. Notwithstanding what the vehicle resembles, there was increasingly that BMW wasn't exactly prepared to share with respect to the X7, its measurements, the yield of its motors, and the specifics of a portion of its gear. All things considered, our day-long drive, both out and about and off, gave us a decent review of this X-Display writ figure. To begin with, the X7 isn't only an extended X5. It is longer, obviously, figure by around 7 inches, making it about 200 creeps from stem to stern, but on the other hand it's more extensive and taller. That is apparent the minute you stroll up to it. The move on board is about the same as in the X5, yet the view from in the driver's seat isn't. The dash is more extensive, and the driver washes out finished a hood that seems expansive and long. In spite of this, you don't feel lost in the auto, on account of a genuinely substantial glass territory, unobtrusively measured columns, and a professional driving position with an unmistakable dead pedal and a story-pivoted quickening agent. The fat-trimmed directing wheel with its hotdog packaging smooth calfskin wrap is commonplace BMW admission, just like the iDrive controller close by the silly electronic shifter and the accessible multi-shape control seats. In spite of dark felt hung going to shroud the inside points of interest, the similitudes with the present 7 arrangement are clear, with a 12.3-inch focal touchscreen standing glad for the dash, beneath which is a column of atmosphere control catches and after that 8 radio preset catches and a volume handle. The instrument bunch is additionally screen-based. The wide focus support houses the apparatus selector, the iDrive control handle, and the start push catch, which can all be rendered in gem, favor. Extra catches incorporate this for the standard driving modes, while toward the front of the reassure is a vast secured binnacle that incorporates 2 cup holders and extra storage alongside an inductive charging cushion for handheld gadgets. Moving back to the second column, there is a 3-man seat or, alternatively, a couple of commander's seats. The last have 4-way control modification and hurry forward electrically to enable access to the standard third column, which suits 2. Overhead is a standard all-encompassing glass sunroof that traverses the initial 2 columns. The area over the front seats opens. Over the third line is a different, settled glass board. The second line is bounty agreeable, however in the event that those travelers profit themselves of each and every inch of legroom, they'll leave valuable little for their buddies back in steerage. Given some benevolence by their second push partners, third push inhabitants don't have it too terrible, as there's not too bad headroom, the seat pad is up off the floor to profit legroom, and the quarter windows permit a view out. At the point when not being used, the third line can be control collapsed into the floor by means of catches in the freight zone. That compartment is gotten to through a 2-piece spring fourth. Similarly as in the X5, the bigger upper area raises up, and the let piece drops down. The 2 activities here are control worked and can be induced with a foot movement under the guard. A catch at the edge of the open lower rear end can bring down the suspension to ease stacking. Try not to hope to fit a great deal of belongings with the third push situate setup, be that as it may. For our market, the X7 will accompany a turbocharged 3.0-liter inline-6 or a twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8, as found in the present X5. They're required to publicize somewhat more power and torque than the current 300 pull and 300 pounds-to-foot, for the 6, and 445 horses and 480 pounds-to-foot, on account of the V8. Both likewise will be mated to an 8-speed program, and xDrive all-wheel drive will be standard. In spite of the fact that the current X5 still offers a diesel motor choice, no diesel is anticipated the X7 in the United States. Different markets will get one. Our third powertrain is probably going to be a module half-breed, like the X5 xDrive 40e, yet not until the 2020 model year. Gracious, and keeping in mind that BMW authorities dismissed our questions around a possible X7M, that is not the same as a conclusive no. Mercedes-AMG offers a GLS 63 all things considered. We drove both the 6-barrel and the V8 on 2 paths and quickly on the Parkway post Spartanburg, South Carolina, where all X7s will be worked nearby their X5/X6 and X3/X4 kin. Regardless of the X7's additional mass contrasted and the X5, how much additional BMW isn't prepared to state. The Turbo 6 is splendidly sufficient in this application, yet its more unmistakable quality is hushed. It's everything except quiet, an impression improved by the 8-speed program's ultra-smooth movements. The V8 demonstrates all the more enchanting, however, attributable to its easy speeding up joined by an incidental quieted roll. While we may have anticipated the powertrain's character, we were somewhat more uneasy about the frame tuning, given our mistake with some current BMWs, including the current X5. The X7, however, is being produced close by the cutting-edge X5, which really will beat it to advertise. The generational change is telling. The X7's directing even in comfort mode endures none of the slop or the excessively light exertion that torment the X5 that is marked down today. We can't remark, be that as it may, on the discretionary integral active steering, raise wheel directing, since none of the vehicles we drove had it. All X7s have air springs at all 4 corners and also versatile dampers, BMW's dynamic damper control. The ride general is outstandingly agreeable, we may wish for somewhat less head-hurl, however body movements are delicate and not articulated. Changing to sport mode, alternate decisions are adaptive and Ego Pro didn't have quite a bit of an impact on the procedures, notwithstanding the way that it brings down the ride tallness by 0.8 inch. The specialists describe the body tuning as just 80% finished, notwithstanding, and one particular change they're taking a gander at is opening up more separation amongst comfort and sport modes. They would do as such by making the last sportier, in spite of the fact that they would prefer not to make something so firm that proprietors will never choose it. The streets in South Carolina were not really the winter-attacked asphalt we're enduring with back home, yet effect cruelty over the knots we found was insignificant. That is particularly eminent considering that we were riding on 22-inch wheels with rather irrationally low profile, stunned elastic sizes, 275/40R22 in advance and 315/35R22 at the back. 21-inch wheels likewise are accessible, with 285/45R21 tires all around. One of the vehicles we drove was outfitted with active roll stabilization, dynamic against move bars, while the other was not, but rather here once more, we were unable to feel much distinction. Hustling along Elimination streets, we observed body move to be all around dealt with. The X7 appears like one 7-situate SUV that is probably not going to turn your travelers green. Gorgeous off-road vehicle park, in Waterloo, South Carolina, strikes us as an impossible goal for a vehicle with a beginning value we expect will be north of $70,000, yet BMW took us there at any rate, since the Germans obviously trust that rough terrain believability is as yet critical for a hybrid SUV, even a family transport like the X7. The models in which we climbed all over the red earth slopes through profound ravines wore a similar road tires as the renditions we'd been driving out and about, however they were outfitted with the discretionary rough terrain bundle. That implied they had an electronically controlled restricted slip raise differential, rough terrain driving modes, and a bigger slide plate ensuring the motor, yet no extra ground freedom. In any case, with the suspension in its maximum raised position, 1.6 creeps over the typical ride tallness, we could advance painstakingly along the trails without actuating any costly scratching sounds, and the standard slope plunge control strolled the X7 down soaking climbs at single-digit speeds that can be controlled utilizing the up-down voyage control flip switch. Just before making a beeline for the air terminal the next day, we ceased off at the BMW Car Club of America Foundation, where they were preparing for a review on the BMW 2002. We strolled among immaculate cases of that notable model from relatively consistent names including the tip-the-bore convertible, and the turbo. The fundamental 2002 games car propelled BMW's notoriety in North America. However, it is as a matter of fact difficult to draw any solid parallels between those mean, moderate, nervous machines and the rich, overwhelming mega cruiser that is the new X7. For a few, that makes the X7 a renegade against BMW marque schemes. That supposition is reasonable, yet we expect that significantly more aficionados of the brand will see the X7 as the X5 they know and love, just more qualified to family pulling obligation.